Hey there, world. It's Allie with the Right Place, Right Time, and I'm here for today's Memoir Minute, and I'm doing it today a little bit unconventionally. You can tell I'm in a bathrobe. You can tell that my hair is wet. I have no accessories on. You can also tell that I've got no makeup. You are getting me completely raw. I could have not picked through my hair and just showed up even worse off than, the bare naked um, proverbial, obviously, because I'm clothed, me. And there's a reason that I'm doing this morning. I want to make the point that when you are working on memoir, there is no hiding. There's no trying to pretty yourself up or what you've been through to make it seem shiny, polished, uh, happier than it was. And there's also no way of you making yourself maybe better than everybody else in your story, because really, when we get down to it, the truth is we're all human. We all make mistakes. We're all flawed. We're all three-dimensional. And even when we're going through the worst of the worst, um, and maybe that's not our fault, and we shouldn't be blamed for it. In which a lot of cases, especially when we've been victimized, it's usually not our fault, right? Um, the point being, though, that even in those moments when we might be the victim, there is nothing perfect about ourselves, about the other person, or about the situation. Everything is flawed, everything is shaded, everything is nuanced, everything is multiple layers, right? There is no black and white, there's all kinds of shades of gray in between. And so when you go to write your memoir, in order to tap into the human experience, in order to be believable as a character on the page, in order for the other characters on the page to be believable, you have to let it all hang out. Okay. There's no throwing on layers of foundation to cover up, let's say, your role in something. There's no, putting on the jewelry to accessorize a situation and make it seem better than it might have been. Memoir is about transparency. It's about honesty. It's about vulnerability. It's about showing up on the page, raw and real. Now, does that mean that the writing doesn't need to be polished? No. Does that mean that the writing shouldn't be edited? No. Does that mean that the writing shouldn't be well developed and telling a clear story? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm addressing here. What I'm addressing here is that the emotions that are in the story, the characters that are in the story, the self awareness, conscientiousness, reflection, that you're using to tell the story, that is what has to be real. That's what has to be raw. That's what has to be uncensored and unfiltered. When your readers are reading real life on the page, that's when they lean in. That's when they relate to you. That's when they resonate with what you're talking about. When things are all shiny and perfect, it's less believable. Now, that being said, we often fall trapped to this in today's digital world, especially with social media. We tend to post the things on any of those platforms that are positive and happy. It's very rare that we're diving into the mistake that we made today, the challenge that we faced, um, the fault of ours in our home life, a challenging work situation, perhaps. We're often showing the best of the best, right? And we get trapped in thinking that everybody else has it together and we don't. And that's usually not the case. We're just getting the superficial kind of first pass of that person's life. We're getting what they're wanting us to see. They're choosing, they're curating the parts of their life that they're showing us on social media. We could do that in memoir, but then memoir wouldn't be as authentic. Memoir wouldn't be as real to the human experience, which is exactly what memoir is about. So memoir is not about putting up the filters. It's not about putting up the screens. It's not about only showing the best of the best. Nobody will care, really, if everything's hunky dory and there's been no adversity, no challenge, no trouble. Memoir is about the icky stuff. It's about the hard moments. It's about life's mess. It's about how we overcome all of that. Well, the only way to overcome all of that is to show the struggle and to show the faults and to show the layers of the situation. So when you are thinking about writing memoir, you need to be thinking about showing up to the page, um, raw, uncut, no hiding, no disguises, no layers of presentation via what you're wearing, what you're accessorizing with, how many layers of makeup you've got on. Okay, you need to show up as the person at the end of the day when nobody else is watching. That's the you that you're putting out there onto the page. That's the you that you're telling the story from. That's what's going to make you real. That's what's going to make you resonate. That's what's going to make the reader be right there with you as you're telling your story. So So, today, on the eve of Halloween, I want you to think about how writing a memoir is not the time for disguises. It's not the time for hiding. It's the time for standing openly, bravely, courageously in your full self, in your vulnerability, in your truth, and letting it onto the page for somebody else who needs your story to be able to see what's real for them is something that you've been through. All right, folks, that's it for today's Memoir Minute. This went a little bit longer than usual, but I hope that you gained something really powerful in today's live stream. If you want to join me on a story stroll, I'm happy to talk to you about writing your memoir one to one, 20 minutes, free. Just DM me to set something up. I'd love to chat with you about where you're at in the journey and figure out what your next best step is in telling your story. In the meantime, have a great week, and I will see you back here next week for another Memoir Minute where you can learn Memoir 1 minute at a time.